How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. In today's video, we'll be talking about whether you should pay off debt before you begin investing or if you should begin investing while you have debt. This is one of the many topics within finance that has always been debated, and everyone has different opinions and different viewpoints. So in this video, we're going to look at both sides and see when you should pay off debt before investing and when you can begin investing before you're 100% debt free. Finance is no longer just about making some calculations, looking at the numbers, and making a decision based on that. Now we have something known as behavioral economics or behavioral finance, which looks at how psychological, emotional, and social factors affect our financial decision, whether that's saving money or deciding where to invest. So in this video, we will use some basic math to help you understand when to pay off debt and when to invest, but we will also consider the psychological factors of being debt-free. First, let's talk about the benefits of paying off your debt and becoming debt-free. By far, the biggest benefit to becoming debt-free is psychological. When you're deep in debt, it's always in the back of your mind and it can hold you back in different areas of your life. Maybe your entire family is going on a big vacation and you would like to go, but you can't because of your debt. Or you want to start a business, but you can't because you have all this debt. Having debt can stop you from enjoying many things and can even hold you back from your full potential. It could be you don't see your family as much as you would like because you're always working long hours, or you could have a great business idea, but you can't execute it because you need to keep working to pay your debt. Then, debt also causes huge amounts of stress for you and your family. It could be you have kids, but both you and your spouse have to keep working in order to make ends meet. So you're always fighting about who's going to take the kids to school, who's going to pick them up, and who has to take them to baseball practice. Money problems is one of the top reasons why so many marriages end in divorce. So if you and your family were debt-free, then one parent could work a part-time job and work while the kids are in school, or they could even stay home with the kids, and because you're debt-free, one income is enough to survive. So once you become debt-free, it's like a huge weight has been taken off your shoulders, and now you're not stressed out because of the bills you have to pay, you're not exhausted from working so many hours, and in general, you will feel a new sense of freedom, so you won't feel held back to take that vacation or scared of starting that business. Also, when you carry debt, especially high interest debt like payday loans or credit card debt, it becomes a grind just to hold all the credit card companies and the banks back, and you worry that at any moment the dam can burst and all the debt just wipes you out. So from a psychological point of view, paying off your debt before investing is a good idea because it will give you peace of mind, and once your debt is at zero, you can focus all of your effort on investing. A second benefit to paying off debt before investing is the predictability and stability of your returns. What I mean by this is when you're paying off debt, you're guaranteed a certain rate of return. Let's say you have student loans and the rate on those loans is 6%. Well, by paying off that debt, you know your return is 6% and it's going to stay at 6% until you finish paying them off. However, if you were to invest, it could be you get a higher rate of return than 6%, but there's also a chance you get a lower rate of return than you would from paying off the student loans, or in a worst case scenario, you could even lose money. The argument some people make is why put all of their money towards paying off debt that has an interest rate of 6% when they can invest that money and get 10% return. So now they're earning an extra 4%, and yes, that is possible, but anyone who has been investing for a long time knows getting a certain rate of return is never guaranteed. If you're investing during a bull market, then you will have better chances of getting higher returns than you would by paying off debt. But if you're investing right before a drop in the market like back in 2008, then you could end up losing a huge part of your portfolio. Another debate is if someone's putting all of their money towards paying off their debt, then they can invest into their 401k and take advantage of their employer's match, and who doesn't love free things, especially free money? But if we look at it from a numbers point of view, it all depends on what kind of debt you have and the interest rate on that debt. If you have high interest debt, then it would make more sense to hold off on investing to your 401k until you can at least pay off the high interest debt, because the return from investing into your 401k, even after you consider your employer's contribution, isn't going to be higher than the 24% interest rate you're paying on a credit card. But if the debt you have has a low interest rate like 3 or 4% like a home mortgage or a car loan, then you could invest into your 401k and take advantage of that free money your employer is offering you. Now let's look at this from a psychological point of view. Whenever you have debt, it's always going to be in the back of your mind. Now sure, if you have low interest debt, then you might not think about it as much, but that doesn't mean it's not there. Also, whenever you have debt, it comes with some level of risk. So if you lose your job, then you don't only have to worry about finding another job, but you also worry about servicing that debt. So in a case like this, you would have been better off paying your debt, because if you have a job loss, then you won't become stressed and you can take your time finding another job you enjoy. Now yes, if you lost your job and you couldn't find another one soon, you could use the money from your 401k, but then you have to pay a penalty and income taxes, and that doesn't make financial sense. So if you're concerned about losing your job and not being able to service your debt, you're better off paying the debt before investing into your 401k. Now let's look at whether you should pay off your debt first or invest from a numbers point of view, and to keep these examples from getting too complicated, we will stick to basic examples. Let's say you have some low interest debt like student loans and they have an interest rate of 5%, and after you do some research you find an investment that has an average rate of return of 8%. If we look at this strictly from a numbers perspective, then it makes complete sense to invest your money at 8%, and then from there you can cover the 5% interest and you're still left with 3% gains. Basically, whenever you're able to get a higher rate of return from investing than what you are paying in interest, it makes sense to invest before completely paying off your debt. Now let's say you have large amounts of credit card debt and those credit cards carry a rate of 18%. If you were to invest your money at 8% return instead of paying off your debt, then it doesn't make sense because the rate of return is higher from paying off your debt instead of investing. The only way this example would make sense mathematically is if you could get a higher rate of return from investing than the 18% interest rate you're paying on the credit cards, and even though it is possible to get returns that high from investments, the chances of that happening over the long term are not great. So when you're considering whether you should invest first or pay off debt, you must look at it from both a numbers perspective and a psychological perspective. So let's look at some questions you should ask yourself when deciding which route you want to take. The first question you should think about is, what are your financial goals? If you're someone who wants a big house up in the hills, then you want a vacation house down by the beach, and you want to drive around in $2 million hypercars, then you will have a different strategy than the person whose goal is to pay for the kids' college education and have enough money for retirement. So if you want that super high-end lifestyle, your focus is going to be investing because you're always going to want more and you're always going to be looking for the next thing to make you more money. And that means you're always going to carry some level of risk because your money isn't going to be sitting in some savings account. It's going to be invested in the stock market, in real estate, or in your business. Now, most people aren't going to fall into this category. Most people want to live debt-free, provide for their family, take a vacation every so often, and become financially independent. So if this is you, you would be better off paying your debt and then focusing on investing. And the reason is, if something were to change in your life, like a job loss, then you would be in a better financial position to get through it than if you had thousands of dollars in debt looming over you. The second question you should consider is how old you are. This is important because your age will determine how long you have to achieve your financial goals and how much risk you can take in order to achieve those goals. The younger you are and the sooner you can start investing, the longer your investments have to grow and compound. If your goal is to have enough money for retirement and you invested $6,000 annually into a Roth IRA from age 21 until age 65 at an 8% rate of return, then you would have over $2.5 million tax-free. But if you started investing for retirement at age 35 and you retired at 65 and you still had the same 8% rate of return, then your investment would only be worth about $780,000. These examples really show you how beginning to invest early on in your life can benefit you in the long term. The next question you should ask yourself is, how much investing experience do you have? Most people aren't taught about investing in stocks, investing in real estate, or how to manage their money in general, so it's no surprise why so many people don't prioritize learning how to invest. So if you're someone who doesn't have a lot of investing experience, you should make paying off debt a priority, and in the meantime, you can begin learning how to invest. This way, you know for sure that you'll be getting a positive return on your money and you don't risk that money. If you have student loans with a 5% interest, then you know you will get a 5% return. Or if you have credit card debt with 18% interest, then you know you will get an 18% rate of return. But if you don't have much investing experience, then you have no clue what your return will be. It could be you get lucky and the stock you buy goes up by 20%, but there's also a chance that stock goes down by 20%. Also, there's many people who just jump into investing because they have fear of missing out and they have no clue what they're doing. I've actually seen this happen quite a few times with people wanting to get into the real estate game. They watch some of these flipping shows on TV, or they hear about how someone made so much money from real estate and they just go and buy anything they can get their hands on. And most times they end up worse off because they buy a property in a bad area because that's all they can afford, so the rent they can get is low. Then they only put down the minimum down payment, so they're cash flow negative every month. Plus, they rent out the property to someone who doesn't pay rent and they trash the property, so they lose more money than they made. So if you don't have investing experience, then you're better off focusing most of your attention on paying down your debt, and in the meantime, you can begin learning how to invest on a small scale, so if something doesn't work out in your favor, it doesn't ruin you financially. The next question you should ask yourself is, are you in the financial position to invest? If you begin investing while you have high interest debt, then you are exposing yourself to huge amounts of risk. Investing alone carries some risk, so if your investments drop in value and at the same time you lose your job or you have an emergency and you don't have some money set aside to cover you in this scenario, then you can end up going more into debt, or you have to sell your investments at a huge loss, and you don't want to do either one of those. The correct way to go about it is making sure you have any high interest debt paid off and you have an emergency fund to cover your living expenses for a few months, and once you have that covered, then you can move on to investing. So as a recap, whenever you're debating whether you should invest or pay off debt, you should consider all the different factors and you should look at it from different viewpoints. But whenever you have high interest debt like payday loans or credit card debt, you want to pay that off before you can even think about investing, because the chances you get better returns than what you are paying in interest is basically zero. And if you don't have any high interest debt, but you have other forms of debt like a mortgage, a car loan, or student loans, then what you do depends on your financial goals and how much risk you're comfortable with. So with that being said, I hope you learned something from this video, and if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.